Hey everybody, welcome to part two of Build a Runner. I'm
What's
No.
up?
I'm Aaron. We've got Danny. And we've got Chris. Chris is new to Shadowrun. We're just wrapping up the previous build of. I don't think we have a name for him yet, but an
Uh,
orc.
yes.
It's gonna be Sonic, it sounds like.
Yes. No. Guile. Sonic booms everywhere.
He better have an 18-inch flat top.
Shit, damn straight. Fucking switchblade comb and every shit, dude.
So what you had missed is we'd been sitting around chit chatting before we started the stream, um, specifically around a mentor spirit, the horse mentor spirit, and that it provides you with the critter movement power once you initiate, if you decide to take it as a meta magic, which is a bit OP.
Yeah. I mean, it is limited to only 3 times a day.
Only.
But you only need it once because you just hold it all day.
Yeah,
Only.
so I was talking about we have to remember that we have to remember 2 points about magic and critter powers. Magic in Shadowrun has 3 durations, right? Uh, it's either permanent, like you heal someone, their wounds permanently close, or it's instantaneous. You cast a firebolt and immediately fire springs forth, blasts whatever, and then it's gone. Or it's sustained, which means as long as you're concentrating on keeping it up, it stays up. And there's no limit to that. That could be all day long. The only limit is that whenever you have a sustained spell up, you're at -2 for any additional actions, any dice pool actions. Of course, when we move to critter powers are not spells. So technically, there is no -2. There is no. There's nothing for holding a critter power up that I can recall. I mean, maybe there is. Maybe that's
I don't recall one being there. Although
written somewhere. Yeah.
And I definitely don't recall it. So.
you're just gonna make me look it up between now and Saturday when we actually put this character into use.
Right. So
Yeah.
basically, by taking the horse mentor spirit, you have increased your base movement speed by your magic rating, which I think with the 6 agility and 6 magic Aaron figured out is 96 miles per hour.
That's assuming a 3-second round.
A 3-second round, 96 miles an hour, and that is 480 meters per second. So if you score a initiative roll in the 30s, that gives you 4 actions per round. You could punch somebody. If someone was standing at each corner of a football field, you could punch all of them in 3 seconds and have movement left over. A lot of movement left over.
Like, could I dance around people and punch them with the
Yes,
extra movement?
you can go
I
around
feel
them.
like you could run. I feel like you could run around them once and then punch them on the second time you went around.
Yeah, initiative passes become a bigger problem than the distance you travel.
I'm over here
Yeah.
playing tag with the flash and shit. I got it. I'm about it.
That said, again, you have to initiate, so it's not one of the ones like if anybody took the horse mentor spirit, like that would not just come with it for free. You have to use 13 karma to initiate. You've got to
13 karma. Ooh,
I know, but
so
I
pricey.
will.
it's
I
also
will
the
pay
time
that in spade.
and a month.
Okay.
Which in missions
I
you don't
was.
have the month, but in home play, like I would drag that sucker out. Yeah, we've got 15 missions between now and the end of the month. Like, all right, you'll get it. Don't worry.
Sounds good.
So I've got some work to do to figure that out before Saturday, and I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah, I think the main house rules would just be give it a sustaining penalty. So as long as you're sustaining, it's -2. You can't use focus concentration because it doesn't have a force. Or you could use focus concentration, but it would have to be you would have to be using only up to your focus concentration of movement times, right? So if you have focus concentration 4, your magic rating is 6. If you use all 6, then you can't use your focus concentration. But if you only multiply your speed by 4, then maybe you could use your focus concentration for it. And then we were talking about movement speed penalties, because people aren't used to running that fast. So it's not easy to stop. It's not easy to, you might like not quite hit a turn. You can't turn on a dime. So maybe a negative to your dice pool of reaction and or agility by however much faster you're running could be one. But we did say that breaks down if you have this power all the time, because the point is you're not used to it. And if you just have it, you'd probably practice and get good at it. And
I gotta go get some groceries.
I
You
mean,
just
just a
run
little
to get the groceries.
yeah, you just get them. You don't pay for them because nobody even really know who ran into the store.
Just go by, just Doritos flying off shelves as you
Yeah.
as you run down the aisle.
But that gets us to the
So-
next part, which is we've got to go pick out some potential negative karma, negative qualities, because we're at -3 karma remaining. So we've got to get some karma back.
Yeah, so we got to at least get 3 to get into an equal balance state, and then we probably got to pick some up because I think we still have a 1 in a stat somewhere, or have we already spent that karma?
We have a 1 in logic.
Yeah, we have a 1 in logic, so we need 10 karma to get that up to a 2, unless you just want to be a box of rocks.
Nah.
And yeah,
that.
so that's 13 we got to grab up, and then you probably are going to want a little bit of additional cash, maybe, what have you. So yeah, let's get into some of these qualities. So let's talk about some of the qualities. So we're not going to talk about the qualities that nobody cares about.
Okay.
We're going to talk about the qualities that are basically freebies. And then we're going to talk about the qualities that you're probably wanting. I think addiction, no, allergies was one that you were thinking about, gluten allergies, right?
Yeah, just like, yeah, I can just not eat pizza. or something.
Yeah, about that. Common gluten is, I would say, is common. So
Yeah.
that was a common allergy. And then it depends on how allergic are you to it. Are you just gonna like, break out in hives, or is this like a full anaphylactic shock kind of thing?
Let's
somewhere
go
in the
with like
middle.
a rash, like a uncomfortable rash, maybe some bumps. I definitely don't want to die eating an errant slice of pizza, or someone sprinkling oatmeal and whatever whatever I'm eating.
So I mean, that sounds like a mild or a moderate. And that's going to be the amount of negative dice you have for actions while in the presence of that allergen. So
Yeah. So
-2
mild is
or -4?
-2, moderate is a -4.
And then how many karma does that make for
10 and
between the two
15.
different 10 and 15? Okay. Yeah, let's just make him sickly but fast. All right. Okay, so yeah, let's
We've
have
really
him,
given
like,
them the runs, aren't we?
Yeah, no, like for real. Like,
Wow, wow.
so
Womp
he's gonna
womp.
have that. He's gonna have the allergy, and then have. I saw that there was something like what was it? Weak immune system. So like. So like he can outrun everything but the common cold. You know what I mean?
So moderate will give you a -4 to your dice pool, but you're going to get 15 karma back. If that's interesting to you.
Okay, and that's only in the presence of like gluten. Or which,
Yep.
Okay.
Which
And it's in the presence of, or if I'm eating it.
Well,
So like if you eat a
here's the
sandwich,
thing.
am I fucked? Like just because you want to have your pastrami?
So here's the thing. In something like missions, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna say this comes up every once in a while, depending on if it's common or uncommon. If it's uncommon allergy, it's going to come up less often than a common allergy, right? But because we don't want people to just take this as a freebie, it's going to come up. And so how does it come up? Maybe when you're eating someplace, you know, it just happens that they did not prepare it properly, or whatever, or they brought you the gluten full version instead of the gluten free version by accident, and just your luck, it just happens that way like every other time you go out and eat. And so probably for about 24 hours you'll be under the effects of it because you'll have eaten it or whatever. However, in standard play, I guess it's just really up to the GM and how fastidious you are. Whether it becomes a role play thing, and then whether the GM wants to mess with you on it. You know, maybe you're like sleeping and your mouth was open and a pancake fly flew in, and you woke up and swallowed it, and it's gluten. I mean,
So
a pancake fly? Is
so
that a thing in this universe?
it could be.
it's a magic. Yeah, it's a critter. There's a syrup
be.
bug as well. So or syrup bee.
Ooh, okay.
Um,
Syrup bee?
So really, it's
Got it.
do you want to take the -2 or the -4? Is really the thing, because it's going to come up probably every other mission or every third mission.
Okay. I'll do the -2.
Okay. So you're going to get 10 karma for that.
All right, which means we still have 15 karma open for the rest of it. So that's the one you said you wanted. Now let's go through some of the rest of these and talk about them. Let's see some interesting ones. I mean, you've got your asthma, you've got your astral beacon, which means that you show up on the astral plane, or when people are trying to read your aura, it's really easy to read. And there are a lot. One of my favorites is, and I'm not saying you should take this,
Okay.
but one of my favorites is bad luck. It's 12 point quality, so you get 12 karma for it. And every time you use your karma, you roll a d6, and if it rolls a 1, then the opposite effect is what happens. So if you're using it to try to like remove a glitch, it makes the glitch worse, etc., so on and so forth. Once it's done, it doesn't happen again for the rest of the mission or the run. So it's not like you can come up a 1 and then come up 1 again and come up 1 again. So you just do it throughout the mission until it happens, and then once it's happened, it's done. I really like to combine this with high edge characters, especially because then I know that I'm using edge a lot throughout the mission, so the bad luck's going to come up. To me, it's a good time, especially if I'm the GM. It's a really good time.
About it.
But so you've got 3 edge though, so.
And I have 3 edge.
Yeah.
And
one
in
of
the
those
context
3
of what you were just saying, is that a lot of edge? You said you like using it on high edge characters, right?
So when I say a high edge character, I mean 6 edge or higher is usually where I like to put that, because it happens a lot.
Got it.
It won't happen as often if you're low edge, but then when it does happen, it hurts a lot more, because that was like your 1 or 2 times to shine, right? To use that edge, and then you just got like womp womp. When you have like 6 edge, it makes for like one hilarious moment probably is going to happen during the game, but it doesn't, it
won't kill someone likely.
Probably won't. Yes.
Ooh, I see it like a distinctive. Oh, sorry. Go for it.
There's a variety of codes of honor, which you can take. They can be interesting. So one of the ones that I feel is kind of a freebie is Creature of Comfort. Basically, you take it at the lowest level. If you're not staying in at least medium, sort of a medium-esque lifestyle equivalent, a bed, then you're gonna start getting kind of annoyed at life, and you'll start to suffer a penalty to social and healing tests. Which I feel like creature of comfort, low to middle lifestyle is probably what most Americans have. Homeless.
Did he cut
If
out
someone,
for anybody else?
Yeah.
if you were to like suddenly
okay.
become homeless, you would probably start suffering negatives to your social and healing tests. But because it's because it's per day, usually pretty good. It's gonna, especially in missions, it won't come up that you're gonna be taking extended stays in like lower lifestyle um, safe houses. Um, Designated Omega. If you don't ever feel like you're gonna be the one in charge, Designated Omega is 5 points for free because just don't be in charge. Um, you're always just comfortable with someone else being in charge. Style, another free one. Um, because you wear what you want, you wear your distinctive style. Um, this one, arguably,
So
some
it's
people that it's not free. If you want to like put on you can't put anything on that removes this distinctive style like without the negative kind of taking effect. So let's say that your distinctive style is that you have a
suspenders.
neon suspenders. You got neon green suspenders in style. Well, it's your distinctive style. So if you put on, like battle combat armor, you're either A, going to put the suspenders on over the armor so you still have suspenders and people can still look and see like, it's neon green suspenders guy. Or you have the negative, right? Like you can't
Oh, this is
always
happening.
presence.
He's wearing fucking suspenders.
So
Well, so for example, in the last mission I ran for Realm Alternus, they had to go and do an insurrection on a facility, but one of them has a distinctive style, pink mohawk, and that's Eric DeMage's character. So what happened is he had to cover it in order to kind of keep a low profile while they were breaking into the facility, and so that meant a -2 or I think it's a -2 to their dice pool during that time period. And then as soon as things went loud, like the hat came off and he was full pink mohawk again.
yeah. Well, so the negative. You can cover it up by raw and there's nothing that says there's a negative. It just says, look, you're always going to be memorable for the thing. So somehow that pink mohawk is shining through your helmet. Somehow.
Yeah.
Idea there. Let's see. Family curse, favorite, flashbacks. If you're really low charisma to start, hung out to dry, gives you 8, and it makes you to where you don't have any contacts at the beginning. Insomnia level 1. This is almost a freebie. Basically, to heal stun damage when you take a nap. Since that doesn't come up a lot in like a missions or right in the midst of a mission, generally that can be a freebie for folks. I don't see it. Yeah, I don't see coming up all the time. Let's see.
Yeah, I believed in order to get some rest for the insomnia, you end up making a body roll, and also he's got super high body because he's an orc.
Well, it's intuition and willpower
Oh, okay.
to if you can actually get any rest. So, let's see. If you're not really worried about being a social butterfly, social appearance anxiety, any of the ones that give you negatives to your social skills, social appearance anxiety is a good one for somebody who at least cares, because all that is that's like when you are disheveled. Is your bow tie is crooked, or you got us you spilled like some
Hey, Danny, we're losing you.
appearance anxiety. Of course we are. That's what happens now. It's a new world. It's a new world where I keep losing connectivity.
I feel your pain. Comcast doesn't like me.
It's all
And then there's uncouth is one that a lot of people like to take. Um, it basically means that you just are really horrible at social interactions and mess things up. It was such a freebie that I actually
Did we lose? We lost Chris?
looks like we might have lost. Well, looks like we might have lost Chris.
I think I had a bit of a glitch. I'm checking my stream and it's not giving me any warnings.
Yeah, that's the problem I've been having is you guys are telling me I'm like disconnecting or whatever, but my Discord is telling me everything's fine, and I'm hearing you guys just fine. I'm seeing your video come through just fine.
Yeah, and we
So
see
then
you like freeze, and then all of a sudden, like it will speed up a little bit, and then you're back talking again. Gotta go unclog the tubes. Yeah, we do. Absolutely. Chris, you back? I know. Can you hear us? Now we have 11 people watching, and that's when it all fouls up. It's the internet.
yeah.
He's the star of the show. We'll start giving him some things, like how about bipolar?
Yeah, just throw it on there. Did you call me dumb? Did you just call me dumb is one of my favorites. You just, Oh,
Yay!
return to the Mac.
Can you see here?
So some.
Hey,
Okay.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Let me adjust your user.
I can see and hear.
Okay.
Moved your computer, I see.
Yes. I did.
All right. So a couple of fun ones. Did you just call me dumb? That's always a good time. Basically, the idea there is that you cannot resist camouflaging insults into your speech, right? So it's all the backhanded compliments, sarcastic quips, and everything. You're good enough at it that oftentimes they can't tell they're being insulted until you glitch, and then it's a critical glitch because they get really offended. So
And glitches I take it
that's
are like critical fails or like rolling ones or something.
yeah, a glitch would be like so a glitch is weird. So a glitch happens when you succeed, but there's a complication.
Okay.
So, an example of that, I always use
Yes, but
I always use guns as an example because it's easier. So I got my shot off, but my gun jammed, and so now I've got to go spend time to unjam my gun, and then everything's fine. So you have to spend an.
Yeah, you may have hit the guy.
Yeah.
You may have even hit the guy with your bullet, but your gun jammed. Yep.
And then critical glitch is something really went wrong. So the gun broke.
You fire.
Yeah. The internet.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are you thinking? Like we've laid out a couple different ones, like some social ones. We've also have code of honor where you have a specific honor or track that you want to follow, or a mantra. There are other ones that. Yeah, go ahead.
I was thinking gluten allergy seems awesome.
So we got that one in there.
That one in there, and you said code of honor. Sorry, it was kind of fading in and out, and then my phone exploded apparently. So I didn't quite hear everything that was in
Okay.
that one. So it was what, Code of Honor? What does that do? I'm looking it up here as we speak.
Basically,
It's you got a code, and you got to follow through on it. And there's a bunch of them. I'll let Aaron go into a few of the different ones that might make sense.
let's see. I was hoping they would have it built in the Chummer, so we're just going to open up my SR book.
So Warriors Code, character who follows the
Yep.
Warriors Code maintains a strict sense of personal honor. Not kill an unarmed person, take a lethal action against an opponent who is unaware or unprepared for an attack.
Yep.
And I can't do that. I'm running at the speed of light, sucker punching people. Wait a second.
Assassin's Creed would be one where you can only kill somebody that you've been specifically paid to kill. Otherwise, you must leave them incapacitated. Sometimes accidents happen though, and that's when things go wrong.
Okay. Actually, I could be. Yeah, I'm about that.
Like, you don't.
But are you an assassin?
Oh, I won't kill anybody I'm not paid to kill, right?
Right. Well, specifically paid, right? So specifically, like by name, you are told this is the person to kill.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Okay, I'm tracking what you're saying now. All right, never mind then. I can't do that either.
There's some others
if
in Run.
everyone dies, we don't care.
So
distinctive styles. I definitely want some distinctive style for the suspenders.
Is it green suspenders?
Actually, gonna be a thing. I might not be green, but yeah.
Well, they could be electrochromatic, so they actually are super bright and flashy no matter where you go.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just remember, it's got to be distinctive. It just can't be like I've got black suspenders on.
Yeah, no, it's got to be flashy.
No. Oh, flamboyant suspenders.
Studded all the way out. So you've got studded suspenders.
Studded electrochromatic.
About that life.
All right, so if I take distinctive style and we take allergy, that gives you, you're at 12 karma now. So we've taken
15?
15.
5 and 10?
Yep. So if I look at the negative qualities, capped at 10.
Oh, negative qualities are capped at 10?
Well, I can adjust the filter, so.
Here's a question for you. Are you is your only chance of making it in the underground fight circuit, the underground fighting rings, the street fighting rings, or are you someone who's actually going to be like coming up in national sports arenas? And I ask you this because whether you have a sin or not, whether you are an actual citizen who can actually partake in actual sporting events, versus someone who doesn't have a sin and the best you can do is underground fight rings.
Criminal sin?
I would like a sin. I'd like to be able to I'd like to be able to punch Mike Tyson in his face, or the equivalent.
So like your plan is to be a legit boxer and actually make your way up legitimate boxing ranks.
I just want to punch people a lot.
So you don't need
a sin for that.
You don't need a sin to punch people. It's just a question of where you're punching them. So are you punching them like, in Vegas on national television? Yes. And if that's the case, then you probably do need a sin, right? Because
I want a license to punch people wherever. If I need a sin to punch Mike Tyson in the face in the middle of a ring, I would like that.
It's a national sin.
So a national sin, that makes sense. So
sure.
So you're a legitimate UCAS.
Does that mean that
boxer.
They could just trap me?
Do you do UCAS or do PCC?
Yes.
I think for right now, simplicity's sake, UCAS probably. He can make that change if he gets into it and decides he wants to change.
That's true. So there's a bunch of nations. At some point, you can decide if you want to switch your nationality as you sort of learn about the lore. But we'll use UCAS, which is mostly the remnants of the United States, minus the bottom half.
Yeah, the United States is now split up into like 5 different entities. So
Okay. Then let me guess, Texas is
national.
one of the phone.
Texas is split between Atslin and the CAS
Yep.
in the 2070s, right?
Yep.
So there's the Confederated American States, which is the South. Mexico is Atslin. Canada, with the remnants of Canada, has joined on America to become the United Canadian and American States. And then a lot of there was a
well, there's the Quebecois as well, and then the Nan.
Yeah, and then there was a revolution, right, in the early part of the century, and the Native American nations were born. So
all right, so we have 5 more negative points we could take if we wanted to, or if we wanted to stay where we're at, we've got 17 remaining karma.
5 more, right?
If we so
yeah,
choose.
if you're trying to fill them up. Poor self-control, attention seeking. The spotlight is the character's natural habitat, like a fish in water.
Yes.
And you suffer just as much when you're not in it. You go out of your way to be vivacious and gain approval from others and be in the limelight, etc., so on and so forth. 5 points.
It's like it was meant to be.
It is one of my
favorite ones. Why else would you wear electrochromatic suspenders while you're boxing on the national stage?
I cannot argue with this statement. So,
so we've got 22 karma to spend.
22. I think 10 of it goes into intelligence right off the bat. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, but before we spend it, there's a couple of things that we kind of want to get into real quick. One is knowledge skills, and the other is going to be contacts.
So I had already sort of pre-set up a couple knowledge skills that I thought would be useful, at least in the very beginning, which is English and area knowledge Seattle.
Yes. Right. So the best way to explain knowledge skills, in my opinion, because there is no set amount of knowledge skills. Knowledge skills are just things you know. You can make up anything to be a knowledge skill, right? If you decide you want to be an expert in guppy reproduction, you could have guppy reproduction knowledge skill. Like, you can, okay? So the real question is, how do knowledge skills work? And the way they generally work is that every once in a while as a GM, I'm going to ask you if you have a knowledge skill that pertains to something, right? So you're going to be like, man, what gang wears pink and blue? And I'm going to say, hey, a gang's knowledge check. Now, you might not have written down gang's knowledge because you weren't thinking gangs at the time, but maybe you were thinking about like
Sprawl Life,
like Sprawl Life or something or whatever. So you would then say, well, I don't actually have that specific thing, but I have this, and I think that relates. And as the GM, I would make a call as to whether it relates, how closely it relates, etc. So the best example would be mafia versus organized crime. So I might say, hey, make a mafia knowledge check. And you're like, I don't have mafia, but I have organized crime. And I'm going to say, that works. I might not give you the depth of information that I would have if you had mafia directly, but having organized crime, since mafia falls under that, would work. So it's just about everything. It's and they categorize it to help you into 4 different types of knowledge and then languages. So it's your knowledges are street, so anything that might be street skills, right? So sprawl, gangs, organized crime, could be that, street drugs, etc. Then there's academic skills, which is any school subject that you could think of. If you study in a college, it could be an academic skill, right? Chemistry, anthropology.
Physics. I need physics and geometry.
Physics and geometry, yes. Those would be two of those. Then you have professional skills. So these are things like plumbing or security procedures. Now, the quick thing to keep in mind is that they're not active skills. So plumbing is not going to be your ability to actually fix the plumbing. It's going to be your knowledge of like how plumbing systems work. So two sort of different things, right? So those are professional skills. And then finally, your interests, music, sports, etc. And so those are your 4 categories to kind of help you like put them down. And then finally, any language, these come under language skills. So you have 14 points, and they spend, and they roll just like your normal skills do. So if I want you to do, like, say you have organized crime at 4, and you have intuition, which is where street skills go to at 4, I would say roll on organized crime. You would roll 8 dice.
And I have 14 points, right? And I still have yet to get the movement power, correct? And I need 13 for that.
No, that's
No,
separate.
no, no.
Right.
So this is 14 free points for your knowledge skills.
Okay, I get 14 free points for non-skills. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, so yeah, I need physics, geometry. You got area knowledge, English.
There's
And
also
English is your native language, so you're not spending any points to have full fluency in English. So your second language is where you start spending points.
Okay. Would like music.
music.
Music. And you can also take specializations here as well. So you could do like music composition or music performance, etc. Now
Music
remember,
history.
these aren't your abilities to do the things, right? So like music performance wouldn't be your ability to actually perform music. It would be like your ability to rate a performance or to understand how good a performance is.
Or when it came out. Like, oh, that song
Yeah,
came out in
or right,
2077.
or when the performance happened, etc. Yeah.
That works for me. Like, I wanted him to be like a music historian, like listens to old, like, well, I guess it would be like current hip hop or music or whatnot.
I mean, we can be
Yeah,
very
you know, like a
specific too,
rap
right? Like you
historian.
can say like specifically like I know about like turn of the century hip hop.
Right, yeah, and that's the thing is you can
Okay.
drill all the way down, right? So going back to the organized crime example, right? So if you chose mafia and then I said it's the Yakuza, you're not going to get to roll because the mafia is not Yakuza, right? But remember I said if you take organized crime, well, you know about mafia and you know about Yakuza, but you're going to know less. So you could drill all the way down and say, well, I want a knowledge skill on the Capaldi family in Las Vegas of the mafia, right? And now like you get a couple of successes and I can give you like names of like the goons in it. But if you're like up here in organized crime and you're like, well, what do I want to know about that? I'll be like, they seem like mafia guys. Like that's the extent of information you'll get. You see what I'm saying? So it's like about how well you drill into your knowledge.
All right, cool beans. So I would like then, music, hip hop, yeah, contemporary hip hop history, and or at least, yeah, and then boxing history knowledge.
So where I would go with like music, I would say music history would be the skill, and then I would put a specialization into contemporary hip hop, like turn of the century contemporary hip hop would be like a specialization.
Work makes the dream work. Looking out, yeah, that sounds good.
That boxing. Yeah, it's not in there. So. Now, the depth of knowledge also is how many points you want to put into it. So we can go super wide and super thin, or you can put a couple dice into each one. Those 14 points are what you end up spending to increase it.
Right. So just like
So yeah, I want to bump up physics and geometry a little bit, so I know that I how so I could have a general idea of what exactly would happen to me if I ran into a fucking wall at 180 bajillion miles an hour. And it also helped me with figuring out how to throw shit the right way if I wanted to like skip a bottle off a fucking off of a fucking wall to hit someone or something.
Now remember, eyes that you're
Um,
making, that's for your headcanon, right? Like your knowledge skills are just knowledge skills. So you to actually throw the bottle that's just totally 100% your throwing skill. Your knowledge of geometry and physics is not going to improve your ability to throw a bottle ever, because that's literally just your throwing skill. That's your actual skill to do it.
This is just headcanon.
So
then.
this is
so
literally your
about it when you
geometry and
guys were talking
physics.
about
Yeah, this is just literally knowing geometry and physics.
you guys talking about taking a corner, not right. And I'm like, I kind of want to be able to calculate that, so I need to know I could turn my body like this.
Yeah, this is not going to help that. That's literally just going to be the skill running, or this, that's like your abilities. This is literally like if something comes up and they're like, yeah, like 1 ounce of yellow cake uranium was taken. Well, you would be like, I got physics knowledge. What could 1 ounce of yellow cake uranium do?
That much.
So area knowledge generally comes in handy. Magical threats comes in handy. Small unit tactics come in handy.
That's magical threat.
Small unit tactics, the active knowledge skill.
Yes, I know.
Somalian tactics.
Small unit.
Somalian, yes. Somalian tactics. Yes.
What?
Yes.
Like pirates got all the way over here? Like what was going
No one
on?
understands. No one understands Somalian naval special forces tactics, and ergo, it is its own specific skill. Small unit tactics. Yes.
Small unit tactics.
Close.
Okay.
Close.
All right. Both of those
Somalian could be a specialization of small unit tactics.
So, but yeah, there's some other ones that could be. So you asked magical threats. So that could include things like paracritters that you may run into, but having paracritters is better because that's going to be more specific. It could be knowing that spirits are a thing and you have to deal with spirits. Like the things that you could run into that could be threats to you, that would be a magical threat.
Yeah.
That sounds like a plan to me.
Okay.
How many points do I have left?
Once I add magical threats, depending on what level we take it, I've got it at 1 point. You have 2 points left to spend based on what you see there. So are you able to see it just fine?
Yes.
Yeah, so if you want to take out something, you can put some points in elsewhere, etc. Or you could just keep them kind of low.
I need more points in boxing. So I have 2 points left?
Yeah, I mean, you can put both in there. That gives you 8 as a street knowledge.
Yeah.
History of boxing, the greatest boxers of all time.
Yeah. Like the greatest
Base.
boxing, like just wide boxing, right?
Right. Yeah, this is just boxing. So like this is a full a full of just boxing knowledge, your knowledge of the sport of boxing.
All right, cool bean.
That means we've used all of our knowledge skill points. And now we get to look at your
I
relationship.
am full of knowledge.
You are. So we look at your relationships.
Relationships?
Yep. So who would you have as contacts? Who do you know? Who do you know on the street? Like maybe it's people you grew up with. Maybe it's somebody who gets you jobs. Maybe you know a bookie who.
Yeah. So your contacts are people that you know. Your contacts are people that you know that can help you out in streets. Okay. So your mom is not a contact unless your mom is also your arms dealer.
Gotcha. Okay. So contacts are something that can provide a service or something for you, or
within
Get you
the
someone.
context of being a Shadowrunner, yes, or in the context of a professional relationship. You have 9 free points, and contacts
All
come
right.
with 2 stats. We call them loyalty and connection. So your loyalty is how well they know you, and I've got a rating kind of for that, and their connection is how well connected they are, right? So on connection, if they have a connection rating of 1, it's they know their street, right? So like maybe a connection rating 1 or 2 would be like a local leader that just knows his hood, like specifically. Okay. So that's a 1. A 6 would be a citywide connection. Like the mayor is like a 6, maybe hovering 7, right? Of a medium-sized city. I would say if it's a large city, they might be a 7 or 8. And then like the Big 10, the 10 biggest corporations of the world, their CEO.
Yeah, their CEOs are
So
12.
that's how the connection rating works. And then the loyalty only goes to 6. And this is my read of loyalty. Loyalty 1, someone introduced you at a party one time. Maybe you remember their name, maybe not, but be like, oh yeah, you. Rating 2, you've met a few more times, and you have a generally good sense about them, like a good feeling, like that's a cool guy. Yeah, he's a cool guy. At rating 3, this is a full-on acquaintance. This is someone like you're almost gonna be friends with them. Like you wouldn't say they're a friend.
He's a chill
That's a
dude.
friend. At 4, that's a friend. At 5, they will help you hide the body. And at 6, they will help you make the body. So
All right. And I have 9 points, so I could get a 6 and a 3, right?
Well,
so
it's the combination of your
I
connection
mean, like a boxer
and your
boxer
loyalty.
always has a corner man, right?
Yeah, so you should have a corner. Well, it depends on what they get for you, right? Like a contact is something you're going to use during a run. Like the other stuff you probably can sort of ignore. But if you plan on while you're doing a run calling your corner guy to get you
Always in
gear
my corner.
or drugs,
so
Exactly.
here's
But he's
a
like my
good way to
cut
look
man
at it
that gets me
is
like drugs.
yeah. So what you should think about is what do they do for you in terms of the shadows, right? What would they do for you if you were like on a job? I'm about to rob a bank. If I were to call this guy for something that helps me rob the bank, what am I calling? That's your contacts, right? Now your corner man is not probably going to be helping you rob the bank in his capacity as your corner man, but maybe because he's your corner man, he does have a line on like combat stims and stuff like that, right? So you could still have him as your contact, as your drug dealer, like that's his role as the contact, but your headcanon or your background is he is your corner man. So there's lots, like I said, so your mom's not a contact unless she's also your arms dealer. Now she's not a contact because she's your mom. She's a contact because she's your arms dealer. She just happens to also be your mom, you know. And then your max combination to start at creation is 7. So the loyalty and connection rating can't add up to more than 7 to start. And I don't know if that's just a missions thing. Is that just a missions thing, actually?
no, that's in the core character rulebook.
Yeah.
So like your mom could be a connection 6, but loyalty 1. She doesn't trust you.
Mom didn't really care about me. She just cared about RPGs and machine guns and Glocks.
Claymores and shit.
I was nothing more than a holdout to her.
So
So like the combat stims for my cup man gets me combat drugs, and have him be like the man, always very trustworthy. You literally trust him with your life. So at least the 5. Right? You put your life in your corner's hand. And then have a promoter who can help me connect me with jobs or whatnot. Fix fights, maybe.
well, again, we start running into problems just due to amount. So let's say your drug dealer cut man.
Okay.
You said loyalty 5. That means we've got 3 points of connection to spend after this, and that means that they're a connection 1 cut man. So if they're trying to get you drugs, they're going to actually have difficulty getting you drugs.
I mean, he'll give them to you for free at 5. The ones he can find with a connection rating of 1.
Which is like bliss.
Like, yeah, like I can find you a spliff, and you're my dog, so like here you go, you know.
Okay, actually, okay. I'm tracking. So yeah, so no, I just have the one contact. My corner man, my corner man / manager. He's in my corner. He's well connected, and he gets me drugs. Is that
Alright.
how that works? So I have
But at the end of the
loyalty
day,
5,
is
connection.
he? Well, so you can't have them combined be more than 7.
Okay. So then 4 and 3 then. 4 loyalty, 3 connection.
Yeah, and that would make sense. He is your friend, you know, trusted friend. But he's like he's not, you know, he's not like he's actually in, you know, in the fight scene, and he's actually able to make fights happen, but he's not like a big fish in the city, right? Like he's, you know, he's a guy like the people of the city know who he is, but he's not going to get you the champion fight like just on the drop of a dime. But he can get you in and, you know, get you going and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Which means you have
Sounds
another
good.
contact that's going to be a 1/1. So maybe this is like
All right.
Somebody on the street.
This is the security guy to the local gym or whatnot, like the arena or whatever things go down
okay.
in.
Yeah, so like so I mean he knows who you are. He knows you're a fighter. All he has is like control over like the one door to the place. You know, really. So like you're just like I want to get into the gym and like work out. You slip him, you know, you slip him a 10, and then he like opens the door for you and lets you into the gym. And he's okay with he recognizes you as a fighter there, right? Like, and that's kind of the
Yeah.
extent. Maybe if like you know there was some information like he noted like some mafia guys coming in one night and you gave him enough money, he might like tell you about that kind of thing, you know, but definitely limited to that like level. So
And you get the great
Sounds
names
good.
for them. I threw in some temporary names.
yeah. So
Ellen Varg.
all right.
Don King. Go home.
Okay. So with that, I mean, we spent the knowledge, we've spent the contacts. We now have his karma, and we also have some money that we're going to want to spend. And I'm thinking that probably where it's going to go is we're going to raise that in that logic up to 2. That's going to spend 10 of it, and then we'll probably dump the rest of that karma into money, unless there was something you wanted to go back and revisit.
Which usually skills.
Is there any skills that we should be bumping up? Let's see.
So this is what I think. How many points are we gonna have left on karma after looks like he's got how much karma left?
He's got 2 left right now, but that's because I took 10 and dumped it into New Yen. So there's 12 left after bumping logic.
I had 12.
All right, so right off the bat, you can add 1 to one of your scores that is higher than a 1 but lower than a 6. So maybe your perception or your running can go to 4, and that would spend that 2. Because what we would be doing is we would be taking the 1 away from gymnastics to put it there, and then we would be spending 2 to raise your gymnastics to 1.
Gotcha. Okay. I think putting it into running would be overkill. Let's just go ahead and put it into perception.
Okay. So perception 4, and then gymnastics back to 1, and that spins the 2.
Yep. So I would spend
Okay.
if we dump the rest of the New Yen into street or into money.
Then that gives you 16 grand with which to spend. So you had 6 grand for your priority, and now you got another 10. It's 2,000 per, so 26,000.
Yeah.
Ooh, I was about to shortchange you 10 grand, 10K, man. I was gonna start knocking on my door. Um,
You have some money for my man over here.
so right off the bat, you need a matrix device. So here's the question: you got a Nokia flip phone, or you got the latest Samsung iPhone Super Plus One modulator?
Does that Super Plus One modulator like have like a SIM card in it that can be tracked and like can get drone bombed from the sky? My
All of
metadata.
yes and no. So the question is um as a magical guy, you're not going to have a lot of stuff connected to it. So if I was a street Sam, I'd have my eyes would probably be running through it, hands are running through it. So I'm pretty vulnerable to attack that way. As a magical guy, you're not. This is really just about your flash and bling. Like, are you the guy that has a Nokia flip phone and everyone's like, oh really? Or are you the guy who always has like the latest and greatest phone?
Nah. Let's go with the flip phone. Like, I'm gonna. Yeah, I'll spend my money on. I can suspend.
So probably I would say something like the rating. Where is it at?
Rating 2 or
Like a
rating 3?
device rating 3. Like a device rating 3. Because device rating 1, that's your burner. Device rating 3 is
The Renraku Sensei.
Wait, what, Sensei?
Renraku Sensei.
it's Renraku is a corporation, Sensei is the line, the model.
But it's a rating 3. It's a decent comlink.
Yeah. It's
And it's 1,000 yen.
yeah, it's 1,000 yen.
Oh, is it?
Then,
Oh, so the phone is like a comlink type thing. Does
well, so
the
we call it a
Lim
comlink.
is really good at playing music.
Okay, don't think of comlink as the earpiece. The comlink is literally it's a communications link. It is the link that allows you to communicate. It's a
phone. Okay.
it is the ultimate evolution of our smartphone technology, comlink. Okay. Through the comlink, you're going to be able to connect devices to it, to include an earpiece, to include eyewear, etc., that is going to enable you to interact with the virtual world, as well as call your mom when she's sick. All right. So the next thing is your lifestyle. I'm going to run through the major expenditures. So, what is your lifestyle? Are you someone who's just like you're slumming it, or did you decide to like go big and rent the penthouse at one of the major hotels? What is your at the start of the game? What is your living situation?
I'm not on the street, and I'm a couple. I want to be a couple steps above, like trailer park. You know what I mean? Like I have like a modest like a apartment or whatnot. Not going crazy. I mean, I'm not yet a fucking boxing superstar, but I'm on my fucking way. God damn it! You know what I'm saying?
All right. So that sounds like low moving into medium. So I'd say low for now.
Okay.
That gives you a little upward mobility. So for 2K of that starting money, you're going to be paying 1 month's rent on a low lifestyle. Okay. That low lifestyle is connected to your sin. So that means like if something happens, like if like they identified you and the police were coming, that's where they would go. You can purchase multiple lifestyles and tie them to additional sins, which brings us to fake sins.
Aliases. Okay.
So a fake sin has a rating of 1 to 6. They're 2,500 million per rating. So they get fucking expensive. At 4 is as high as you can buy it to start, a rating 4. So a sin is not just your ID, all right? But we'll use the ID to kind of like give you an idea of what it is. So sin rating 1 is a Hawaiian driver's license that says McLovin, right? That is the extent. Like you're just like, nah, this is me, serious. Like, look, give me the beer. Sin rating 6 is a full composite workup. So there, not only do you have like the IDs, you also have like they have whoever builds the sins. a dossier, but they've also built like a Google search profile for you. Like Google has a profile for you for like your shopping stuff. There's medical records built into systems. Like someone went in and put a full life of you into the system of whatever this identity is. So that's a 6.
It's
right?
generally your DNA as well.
Yes, or DNA. All right. The idea here is that whenever someone tries to run your SIN, if it's a fake SIN, they're going to have a device that basically is something that is how deeply does it delve in? Does it just like scan your bar and the bar is legit, or is it something that like connects into the FBI database, etc. Right? So the level. So if it's just a street checkpoint, or if like a bouncer at a club, it's going to be really low. But if it's a street checkpoint, it's going to be medium. And then if it's like high security, it's going to be at the highest levels. And then the higher your rating of SIN, the better it's going to fool whatever device they're using to go through it. If they don't fool it, then that SIN is burned. All that money that went into that SIN is anything that's tied to that SIN is. So all your like, so if you've rented a mansion, if you got a mansion that you've been living in that's tied to your fake SIN, and that SIN gets burned, it's no longer your mansion. All your fake licenses, your hunting licenses, and all that kind of stuff that's tied to your fake SIN, if that SIN gets burned, all those licenses are gone, etc. So it's good to have a really good sort of SIN, maybe a 3 or 4. To like kind of tie some lifestyle stuff to and things that are important, and then maybe have a burner SIN or 2. With the amount of money you have, you're probably limited. So that's how that
So
goes.
I'm limited.
Yeah, because right now you only
said
have
it's 2,000 a point.
2,500.
Okay. So I would. All right. Yeah, I'll grab a level 2. It's so instead of just the Hawaiian McLovin, does it actually have like a barcode on the back, or does it actually
Yeah,
have the
so
watermark on it?
I say that as a joke. You don't actually carry ID. Your SIN is just all of your personal information, to include like your like in our world it would be like your social, a picture, your DNA, all that kind of stuff, and it's on the cloud. And so it is always like it's traceable through your comlink, right? So your comlink is also tied to a SIN, and you always have to project that. So a cop at any time can like look at you, point his scanner at you, and based on your comlink, get your data and your information, right? Like so that's your actual ID. Your ID is your comlink. So yeah, so when I say that, it's just to give you that idea.
Yeah, I'll just grab a burner just so I can be like, yeah, I'm not this flamboyant boxer with electromagnetic fucking suspenders.
So-
I'm Bill.
So you thinking 2
I'm
or 1?
street. 2.
2. Okay.
1 actually. No, yeah.
Yeah, so think about the uses. So like you're on a job and you just want to like have no way for them to trace you as you go about your daily business on the job, right? The local 7-Eleven, instead of using your SIN, your actual SIN, you're going to use a burner SIN, so that like if the cops actually came, they would not like that boxer was never here because there's no record of you shopping. There's no reason to look for your burner guy SIN. Your SIN really only gets burned if you're literally getting checked. So if you're breaking into the place and the cops come and are like, "We're arresting you. Who are you?" and you're like, burner SIN, that's when it would actually get burned. If it did get burned, then they still arrest you. But
Then you get a free SIN.
But yeah, you do. You get a free
me.
SIN. You get a free criminal SIN. But yeah, so the negatives with having a SIN, the positives are that you can do more things legitimately. The negatives are that you now have to pay taxes because you're a citizen, and it's easier to track you if you use your SIN. So every time you go into a place SIN, they have that record of your movement.
So the fakes are nice.
And taxes.
Yeah. So that's why you have the fake. So you turn off your real sin, you turn on the fake, and then you go about. And because you actually have one that's projecting, that they're able to ping, they're generally not looking at you unless you do something to arouse suspicion. And then there's no record of you. Your sin's just at home. So as far as the police are concerned, you're just standing at home all night. So
Totally have an alibi.
So with that rating 1 sin, 2,500, you probably are going to need a burner phone to go with it. So that's a 100 Nguyen Metalink. It's like there's flip phones, and then there's this thing is like even less than a flip phone. And then if you wanted to, will not for now. If you wanted to, you could tie another lifestyle. Maybe you got a safe house somewhere or something. We won't do that for this. You wouldn't want to do that with a rating 1 anyway. You'd probably do that with like a rating 3 or 4 sin, but something to kind of think about, as you progress. So for new players, I just like to have them pay 1,000 and give them a comlink suite. Basically, all the ways you interact with the comlink. So your comlink right now is literally it's a smartphone. If you want to engage with it and look at it and work with it, you have to take it out of your pocket, turn it on, look at the screen, push the buttons with your hand. If you want to see the AR menu that's projecting out of the restaurant, you got to face the phone towards it, just like Pokemon Go, to see the thing. All right. So the things that kind of go with this are AR gloves. AR gloves enable you to see your fingers in the air. So if you were able to see an AR, you can manipulate the phone without actually touching it. You need an image link. So maybe glasses, contacts that project the image of what's on the screen to your actual field of vision. And this is how you can then see like the ARO, the augmented reality keyboard in front of you. So now with your AR gloves, you can do type, right? A sound link, some sort of earbud, so you can hear the phone. And between those 3 things, have the ability to interact with your device without ever putting your hands on it.
That sounds good to me. I'd like to keep my hands available for punching.
Yeah. You can also replace all of that with a single DNI, a direct neural interface, which is either a chip in your brain or it's a hairnet with little like electrodes that attach to your head around, and then you can just do it all with your mind. That's another way you can run it, etc.
Hairnet.
There's also smart wigs.
Yeah, they have wigs and stuff that you could put it on under and everything. But for now, just to kind of move past that, we're just going to go with just, you have a general suite for it. Let's see. So your comps, your sin, your lifestyle, those are the 3 that everyone needs to go through. The next thing is your next 2 big expenditures that you might have as an adept and as a player character in this. One is, do we want...
We lost you, Danny. All right, you're back.
All right, I'm back. So 1 is, do you want to have a foci? 2 is, do you want to have a vehicle?
Armor?
Armor is not as expensive as foci or a vehicle.
That is true.
So
I don't need a vehicle.
I agree.
I don't want to. I think I could just outrun vehicles, right?
You can outrun vehicles, 1, and public transportation is the thing. So a foci. There's 2 kinds of foci that you can have as an adept. One is a what do they call? Man, why did the word jump out of my head? Well, one's a weapon
key?
foci, and the other one is a key foci. Yes. The key foci basically allows you to take more adept powers. And as long as you have this foci on you, you have access to those adept powers. And a weapon foci that's where your magic weapons are. But in Shadowrun, unlike D&D where you can have all kinds of interesting things worked into your magic weapon, in Shadowrun, it's just you get a plus to your ability to hit stuff, and it counts as magic for like punching spirits. So it's not super strong, It's a nice to have as you get further along. As a boxer, it's also less likely for you to have a powerful key focus because your weapon is your hands. So like all your hand powers that you took, like elemental strike and this and that and any other, they go away because you're going to be using a weapon. Even if that weapon is brass knuckles or some magic boxing gloves, it goes away. So
I haven't dealt as
Yeah,
much
no,
with
I
it. Do you
don't
have
want that.
suggestions?
yeah, there could come a time where you want where you would want to get that, but for now, I do think that it's probably not the biggest thing. So a weapon focus. Key focus could be nice to get you some things.
Focuses sound fucking dope to me. So is that? And so you said that unlocks extra powers, right?
Right. So it gives you another power point with which to buy your magical abilities. So a lot of times, if I have the money, I would just get right off the bat a rating 4 key focus, which gives me 1 point to buy more magical powers.
Sounds like a plan to me.
So, and then that would
Fit
go
in the
into
bag.
that. We'll look at those powers in a minute. How much money do we have left?
After the rating 4 key focus, we've got 7,500.
7,500. Now, you can't actually use that key focus until you can bind it. And that's going to cost what, 8 karma?
That rating 4? Yeah, I believe so.
8 karma. So you have it. So then that becomes a question of where you want to just hold off on getting it. But with 7,000, you have plenty of money to get anything else that you might need, such as armor, armor.
Armor and like headphones and shit.
Well, you got all those. We put those into your
Okay.
1,000 Nuyen phone package. Let's see.
I need to like upkeep a iTunes subscription or some shit.
So best friend bang.
So that for the most part, those sorts of things, we work those into your lifestyle. So there are source books where it could nickel and dime you for like very specific things that you want access to, like if you want high-end stuff. But for just like your basic iTunes subscriptions and stuff like that, we work that into your lifestyle. So we as a GM and a player, a GM usually like lets the players know, hey, this is the extent, because your lifestyle cost, like we said, it's going to cost you 2,000, and we asked like where you're living. Well, it's not 2,000. So that means you're paying 2,000 towards your rent, your subscriptions, your utilities, etc. Right? So the GM can like kind of have an idea. So like one example of that is if you're a club and you want to, have your drinks. Well, if you're at low lifestyle, you're buying drinks, you're getting some beers, right? But if you want to get top shelf, like a top shelf cocktail, then the GM's going to actually have you pay for that out of your stuff, right? But if you have a high lifestyle and you're paying 10 grand a month on your lifestyle, just go to the club and be a baller, man. And the GM we just let it go, that sort of thing. So
we were talking armor. Armor jacket is probably your default. Gives you good armor coverage. It's big. It's heavy.
You wear it about town. It's not something that people look at you weird if you're wearing when you're walking down the street. They don't go like, why is that guy armored up? Is he about to do something now? It's just a heavy leather jacket.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Probably want to add some fire resistance and electrical resistance to it.
That was what I was thinking too.
And then
so what, copper wires and whatnot.
Oh yeah, you can
okay,
soup it up, but we're just putting some resistances in it, some extra like fire resistance and stuff. Do you want to have some sort of? Do you have a suit that you wear as well when it's time to dress up nice and clean up?
Vendors, man. Vendors. It is me dressing up, and I dress up all the time.
Just suspenders and a belt.
His leather jacket.
Yeah. And then like when he wants to get fancy, he puts on like a bow tie or wears a tie and cufflinks and shit.
So I
He
might
can dress up.
have gone a little overboard. So I gave you Chem Protection 4, Fire Resistance 4, and Non-Conductivity 4, which means we have 3,500 left.
Okay.
I mean, if he wants to pick up a suit like an Armonti or a Berwick,
Oh, sounds good. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's a good idea because I don't know if in Aaron's game the Johnson is ever gonna require you to meet at some swanky restaurant.
And Armonti
But in
costs
missions,
I have
2,500.
no idea how to.
So you can
Yeah.
afford an Armonti if
Huh?
you want.
Yes, and and the reason why we're talking about suits here is because these are armored suits. So you're not like
Mhm.
you're not
You don't want to go naked to the meet.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's get the Armonti.
So that
and
leaves
that's
us
gonna
a
leave you
grand.
with
1,000.
leaves you with a
left.
grand, but
Huh?
you might need a little spending cash, so you just you can just hold on to that.
Yeah.
That 1,000. So
So it looks like you got a character.
I thank you. Thank you guys for helping me out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We need
all he
name.
needs is a name.
I have it temporarily put Guile, but
Yeah. Yeah. Roger Guile.
so there's two names, right? So one of them is your name that like you were born to, like that's what you go by.
that's on your sin.
Yep.
Your actual true real names. That's on your sin.
And then you have your street name. What are people going to call you?
Whoa. Let's take a couple steps back here. This is
Picking
Chris's
up,
first
picking up.
character, right? This is Chris's first character. He's not picking his Shadowrunner name. He's no.
Okay. Okay.
This
Alright.
character he's gonna earn his Shadowrunner name. Come on now.
I gotta earn my stripes. I'm down with it.
That's
Me
so.
with it.
So just
Listen to this man.
when you play the game on Saturday, you just make sure the other players you understand that they need to be kind of paying attention here and need to offer a street name for
Alright, for Guile.
Roger Guile.
Roger Guile.
You also probably have a name associated with your burner sin. So
I put Judge Judy in, but
that's what I do. I always like just
Perfect.
put like some stupid celebrity name into all of my fake sins. But yeah, you have a character. The only thing that I think that you would need is just a real quick, and I'm not going to give this to you right now, but if someone could just give you like a little cheat sheet, like a little 5-line cheat sheet, which says at the beginning of a combat round, these are the things you need to know to roll so that you can have these things. And then at the end of the combat round, these are what you need to roll so that you know that those things are closed out. That's just to cover his adrenaline boost and his attribute boost and stuff, and make sure he's rolling his drains.
we forgot to buy him drugs.
He's got 1,000 million.
Well, because we talked about
What's your
initiative
drugs
boost.
cost?
'Cause
Yeah,
right-
he should definitely have a several hits of jazz and maybe like if for when the shit hits
yeah, a
a
kamikaze.
kamikaze or nitro. Yeah. Like
I will
Feels like
buy
my
you
jazz
some
hand.
drugs, and then I will send you a printed out character sheet with probably a couple cheat sheets in there on what you need to roll and what you need to do. And I'll send that to you in the next couple days. and you'll be all set for Saturday.
Enabling me. Thank you.
It's always the first hit.
Be enabled.
The first hit's free.
First hit's free.
Cool beans.
Otherwise, hopefully this was fun and enjoyable for everybody taking a watch and seeing their building their way through their first runner, second runner, or seeing some of the tricks Danny uses to optimize. I found it super educational.
That was awesome, guys. Thank you, good.
Otherwise,
Right.
Play on Saturday.
thank you for watching, everybody, and we'll see you for Kids on Bikes tomorrow.
Oh yeah, I'm excited. It's been 2 weeks.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
All right. Bye.